Hello and welcome to the Sega News Bits Extra. I'm your host George, and with me is Barry.
Hey!
And today we're going to start this episode off with talking about Valkyria Chronicles 4. The game came out while we recorded this today, and one of the things that a lot of people are getting angry about is there's some sexual harassment in the game. Let me show you guys the video first before we start talking about it.
They can stand there and talk, but there's still a gulf between them. Call it kind of a hunch.
Yeah? You think they're that complex? Guess it's just woman's intuition.
Except that I'm a man here. Don't forget it.
Like there's any chance of that. But seriously, no guy's got an ass this tight. Oh, come on! What the hell was that for?
I could ask the same of you.
Are you serious? It was just a friendly butt pat between dudes.
Well, would you looky here? That was a hell of a swing!
Trust me, getting to tinker with these things is gonna be incredible. You're totally gonna love... What the... For real? Are those two seriously gonna fight right here?
Wait. So, the whole point of that, I guess, scene, when you take it out of context, it looks really bad. I still think it kind of is a little bad. I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, are we really going to be pretending that are we really going to pretend that, like, because we see something on an anime that we're going to go in real life and do it? The whole argument that people are making, I think big websites right now even posted this story, but basically their little narrative is that how are you going to stop sexual harassment at work when media allows stuff like this to go on? What do you think about people taking, I guess, anime games seriously and, like, wanting, I guess, to censor this kind of stuff? I mean, personally to me, if this scene wasn't in the game, it would have made a big difference to me. It's supposed to be these childhood friends. This girl character in this scene that you saw that got her ass touched is supposed to be role-playing as a guy because it's this complicated anime story where the guy that's named Kai goes behind enemy lines on a secret mission, and so he won't be seen as missing. She starts dressing up as a guy and acting like him, and her childhood friend made fun of her by grabbing her ass and telling her, I haven't seen a guy have an ass this tight, or whatever. So what do you think about that, Barry?
I haven't gotten to that part in the game yet, but I've watched some cutscenes and I've heard from people who have played further in it, and from what I get from it, the character's, sexist and kind of an asshole, but then he learns that he's a sexist kind of asshole and then changes his ways. And I kind of find it frustrating that people will latch on to the first introduction of a character and then be like, well, screw this game, sorry, I'm sad I pre-ordered it, it looks awful, ugh. And it's like, you haven't even seen the character's arc. Like, imagine like that Clint Eastwood movie, Gran Torino, and you're like, man, this guy's a racist. I hate this movie. And if you actually watch the rest of the movie, you're like, oh, he learns from his mistakes, Yeah,
it's kind of like the whole Catherine thing where the new girl, people were saying that she might be trans, and since the fact that Atlas mishandled trans characters in the past, people are just going to pretend that automatically she's going to be a butt of a big joke. To me, even if she is, it seems to me like she's the marketing material for this game, so if anything, she's the lead in this game.
Yeah.
So I think people need to stop freaking out. That's just my opinion. I think developers should do whatever they want, and if it offends you, I suggest don't buy the game. And I guess you could complain on Twitter. I just think it kind of looks like those old Republican people from the early 90s telling us that we can't have violence in video games.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all stand against that.
And wait to see how it's handled within the game. Like, if the characters are put off by it and it's addressed, then I don't see why it's such a negative issue. Now, if it happens and all the characters go, this is pretty cool, he's sexist, I like that.
Oh, this guy's a good
guy.
Guy.
Then you should probably be concerned. But from the look of it, that's not the direction they're going. And I know this is not like a historical drama, but jump back to the era where this is probably like taking place, and it's pretty bad. Like, the first game had racism, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it was addressed.
Yeah, it was addressed that that's just the world you live in, and the squad members didn't want to judge people based on, it's kind of racism, but it's basically based on the color of your hair. So technically not racism, but in this game it's kind of like racism light. I mean, it's kind of making it like stupid, the fucking whole argument that like you're born with black hair, so that means I'm better than you.
That is, yeah. Let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about Space Channel 5 VR Kinda Funky News Flash introduces 2 new playable characters. I don't know how to say these names, but Lao and Ki.
Yeah.
And there's these 2 twin teenage girls that are basically taking internship with Ooh La La. They were introduced in Tokyo Game Show. What do you think about this? Oh, and one more thing that we know about this news. The level being shown at Tokyo Game Show is actually the one from Space Channel 5-1. So this is leading me to believe this is just a VR remake of all the levels in the original, maybe with a couple of new things.
Yeah.
Or stages.
I think that's probably the case. But we do have an interview lined up. I should start actually collecting questions. It's going to be a text interview with the head of the game and the head of grounding. So that'll be good. So if people do have questions, I'll ask again. I think I got a few from some Patreon members before we reach out to the Twitterverse and see if they have any questions.
What do you think about these 2 new characters?
I think they look fine. I guess it's good because it makes it look like this is a new game, even though we're returning to a location from the first game. I like their design more than Pudding. I never thought Pudding was a very good-looking character. She's kind of gross. I don't know.
And this thing has taken more of the whole Japanese trend right now, where it's like basically little girls are kind of popular in these kind of games, where they're like youngins, I guess. I don't know if it's aimed at young girls or just men over there are into this kind of design. Whatever, I'm not going to judge people from Japan that I don't know. The next bit of news is Yu Suzuki is producing a VR battle game called Versus, VRSUS, for Japanese arcades. He said, and I'm not even surprised that Yu Suzuki's coming back to arcades, because in the past he has said that he left Sega in 2008 because they wouldn't fund arcade games he wanted to do, and they were cutting back funding. So it's kind of funny that 10 years later he's working on another arcade game, right? And he hopes that this will basically put some foot traffic in arcades. He said on here, he even mentioned the old Sega VR headset from 1991 that was failed. He brought that up. He talked about how he wants to see what he could do in VR. I think this is a huge sign up for the company that's basically doing this. This company is basically trying to sell VR headsets, and they signed him up for a producer for this game. What do you think about this, especially since he's still doing Shenmue 3 and they haven't really showed anything finalized on Shenmue 3 yet?
I'm not too bothered by it because I feel like he's probably not in a super intense role in this game. It's more like, what do you think about this? Because you know how he is as a game designer. He's not sitting down and doing coding. He's giving ideas, and so I'm sure they're running things past him and he's checking it out. But I don't think it's eating into Shenmue time too much, especially since I think they're in development more on a technical side now that they have the story nailed down. Yeah,
no, I agree with you. Well, I said on here I was a little worried just because people are going to talk on the internet. It doesn't really matter. A lot of these people that do Kickstarter projects, a lot of people are wary, right? Personally, to me, I trust Yu Suzuki's going to finish the project. When he's going to finish the project, we don't know, because, he has a history of taking a long time. But you got to understand, the new people that never heard of him, never really know about him, and still funded this, they just know that a lot of people do Kickstarter projects, and a lot of people go on to do other things. There's a lot of drama right now with a few Kickstarter projects not being funded but not being completed. So I think this is cool. I actually want to play this game. I think it would be cool to play it, like a VR shooting game. It's like a battle game.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of his old, that touchscreen one he used to have. I forgot the name of it now. But it never came out, but it kind of reminds me of that kind of idea. But that's cool. The next bit of news is Cotton Fantastic Night Dreams will be playable in, I can't even say this name of this game, but Yumihara Kawasi Fresh on the Nintendo Switch. It's like a platformer Metroidvania type game.
Yeah.
It has like his unique art style. If you guys ever played Cotton, it's an old... Well, it started off, the first one, Fantastic Night Dreams, was actually developed on the Sega arcade board. It was co-published by Sega, but it came out on a lot of consoles. And she's been kind of MIA since the Dreamcast was her last entry. So having her back in a game, this franchise is more popular in Japan, obviously. But it's nice, and she's also going to be playable within the game, and as you can see, there's a new design to match the in-game graphics. What do you think about this franchise basically coming out of nowhere in Tokyo Game Show? And do you think she could, I don't know, make another side-scrolling game again, 2D again?
I guess so. I don't really have much to say about it. This is all new to me, so...
You never played a Cotton game?
No, I haven't.
You should try some of the Sega Saturn ones, especially if you want to see sticker shocks, because all the Cotton games that I've seen are ridiculously overpriced in the market right now, in the retro market. So
yeah,
but it's an interesting little like cute 'em up. Like it's basically what's that movie by that Japanese anime team that does like Howl's Moving Castle and stuff?
Studio Ghibli.
What's that movie with the witch that they do?
I think that's Howl's Moving Castle. Oh, Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, I guess, in a way, but with a pink-haired girl. It's like inspired by that. She's a witch. She rides a broom, and you shoot things, and it's top-down perspective. Or is it top-down perspective? The 3D ones are like kind of like Space Harrier, the 3D one they made. So it's an interesting franchise. I suggest you guys give it a try. This game looks pretty interesting. I like Metroidvania platformer games, so I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully it comes out west. But that's all we have to talk about in this episode. There hasn't been that much news, really. Outside of...
I think we found enough to talk about.
Yeah, so anything you want to add before we close this up?
No, I'm looking forward to what news drops this week, though. It should be pretty cool.
We actually did like 4 Sega news bits on our site this week, so if you guys haven't seen that, check those out. We'll see you guys next week for more Sega news. Bye.